Howdy, welcome to ChunkyNadz, a mostly extreme chunk locked account that will be starting in the kingdom of Varlamore. We're going to start off the account dropping all of our items as any good chunk locked Ironman or Ironman in general will do. And let's head north. Let's head to Varrock and the commencing quest to unlock Varlamore in a general sense, and that is Children of the Sun. It's about a 5-minute quest where we run around, we play hide and seek, we pick out some weirdos from a lineup and develop a very quick and brief relationship with the prince, and at the end gets us invited to the kingdom of Varlamore. This account will be starting off as a hardcore Ironman. I am by no means wedded to the idea. I do not need to stay a hardcore Ironman to continue playing the account. It's just something I wanted to do, given that my previous hardcore died at Zolra due to my being just a wee bit greedy and a wee bit underleveled. While we get this quest going in the background, as you'll see me fail to play hide and seek, let's get into some of the rules with this account. I've said at the outset that this is a mostly extreme account. There's a few things here that I want to make as exceptions. The first is the construction cape. Not going to get it, at least not in the short term. The only spawn in that chunk, I believe, is a plank, and one plank spawning and no other meaningful way to get construction supplies is no way to get a construction cape. I'll be here for 10 years. The other piece of content that's a little bit sleepy, no offense to anyone out there doing it, but implings, shooting stars, no. Want this to focus on Varlamore and Varlamore content, and those two items will also be off the list. And the other item, the big ticket item here, is the Colosseum. I'm not Wooks, I'm not Mulgoat, I do not have an Infernal Cape, I am a Cheese Caper, and completion of the Colosseum, at least initially, is not going to be required. At least the first few chunks, the first however many chunks, are not going to give us access to the kind of equipment that we need to be able to even think about taking on the first wave, let alone all of them. So Colosseum, at least for now, is a no-no. Primary drop, so we're thinking a 1 in 15 rate to constitute a primary training method. I might change that depending on how I feel as the account goes on. I think 1 in 15 is being a little bit chicken, but this is my first chunk account. I'm super excited for it. I do not want to burn out, and I'm more than happy to relax that later on because I think I am going to enjoy this, but at least for now, just want to make sure that I'm doing this the right way. Quest complete, and now it's time to head over to the Quetzal and begin our journey itself to Varlamore. We'll throw the Runelight region locker GPU up as well so that we know that where we are now is illegal. Skip through a little bit of content. I am very grateful for the spacebar for much of this. I'm sure the lore is fantastic, but at the same time, it doesn't provide for good content. So let's hop on the bird, let's head over to Varlamore, and let's get the show on the road. So here we are in Fortis, and first thing you'll notice here, we are not in the chunk that we'll be unlocking. More on that shortly, but the spoiler there, it is the southwest chunk with a bank. I've just been playing an Ultimate Ironman. I just want a bank. If we have a look here just at Varlamore in a general sense, you do have the city of Fortis taking up most of the map here. To the west, you have Camtorva, the Dwarven stronghold. Just to the southwest, you've got the Hunters Guild. I do hope that we can get there at some stage, but that is going to be a long, long way and a lot of lamping out. And just directly south of us at Fortis, we have the Avium Savannah. So plenty of future content here to look at. I think one of the key components for me is when it comes to travel, we will not be using a Quetzal to go back to Varrock. We will not be using charter ships either. We want to focus as much as we can on Varlamore content. and particularly the southwest chunk that we're starting in. So let's have a look around and see what we've got in our new home for the next 20 plus hours. So looking at the map here, inside of Fortis, we do have a couple of thieving symbols. This is for home burglary. That's a 55 thieving requirement, something we cannot achieve here. We need the keys from wealthy citizens in the market to the east. But what we do have here is a 40 thieving requirement. To pickpocket a guard, we're going to need to get there by pickpocketing the good men and women of Fortis. So that is a level 1 thieving requirement. They are 8 XP per drop, and we've got to get all the way to 40. Believe also the highest requirement of this lot chunk is 58 cooking for some pita bread. So we're going to have a look around and see what is available to us here that we can use to help us to get to 58, because that promises to be a long grind. We do have quite a few homes we can explore here as well. There's really not too much in terms of ground items. Before we look at the rest of the inside of Fortis itself, let's have a look on the out. We've got some wheat. We've got a pie dish that might help us for a food source a little bit later. We've got a buffalo pen, level 9. It's a little bit stronger than a cow. Looks like we've got a few impling spawns here as well. Pet the doggy. Oh, who's a good boy? So it was about here that the balance of the walkthrough of the chunk corrupted. And as is the case for a first time video we're recording, we now have to pivot. So what we're looking at here is the Chunk Picker V2, thanks to Source Chunk for putting this together. And this is a run through of the balance of the chunk that we've chosen. So just to the south here, we have cornfields, which we'll see plenty of action for. We're going to need about 2,500 corn for the 58 cooking grind. The cabbage field, which we'd already mentioned. Additionally, the south side of the interior walls of Fortis here, we've got another 55 thieving home burglary option. Not really something worth pursuing until we unlock the bazaar. We do have a range here with cheese. So cheese is going to give us an infinite source of a 2 healing food, or we can grab that over time to prepare for perhaps another future cooking grind, or just some additional food with some potato and cheese, and maybe we happen upon some butter at some stage. We've got a water source to the south and a fancy clothing store, or a clothing store. And we'll need to purchase all of those best in slot items, as well as anything else this store has: leather boots, leather gloves, some capes and some aprons. To the north here, we've got a headless statue for some reason, and then we've got potato, so that will go with the cheese and the hopeful butter one day, as well as the ability to trap a citizen in here, and that's going to help with our 40 thieving grind. Additionally, just up above the clothes store, we've got some silk and some balls of wool. But other than the bank, that really rounds out what we have here for the balance of the chunk. So that's going to be a wrap on the first episode here. Thank you everyone for watching and listening to what is literally a first go at this. Very much appreciated, and hopefully you'll stick around and like, subscribe if you enjoy the content, and see what else we have to come on the Chunk Locked account. I can guarantee you that next episode will be a level up simulator. Wanted to, before I go, special shout out to Spoon and Crack with a K, another two content creators who are specialising in their Varlamore Chunk Locked account as well. Spoon is in the same chunk as me, or started in the same chunk as me, so it'll be interesting to see how our paths diverge from here as we each unlock nearby chunks. And Crack with a K is in an alternate chunk to myself, but looking forward to see how our paths converge. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.